"Why are you happy?" my pregnant wife asked. "Because you're pregnant, and I'm not the father," I replied calmly. By dessert, her world was already over. This is how a software engineer debugs a cheating wife. My name is Philip Garrison. I'm 50 years old, and I build a SaaS platform that HR departments across the Midwest can't function without. Payroll, benefits, employee files, the whole package. 15 years of 18-hour days, so Whitney wouldn't have to work, so our kids could have everything. Natalie's 14, honor roll, wants to be a veterinarian. Austin just turned 11, plays baseball like I used to. 3 months ago, I found something in our shared cloud storage. Document titled, Insurance Update March. I opened it. Appointment confirmation for an OB-GYN, Dr. Sarah Kellerman. We hadn't talked about having another kid. We'd barely talked about anything that wasn't logistics. That's when I started watching. Really watching. I'm a software guy. I believe in data, in patterns. Our platform tracks everything. 2 weeks later, I confirmed it. Whitney was 12 weeks pregnant. The notes were in her email, synced to the cloud I set up for family security. 12 weeks. I counted backward. We hadn't been intimate since New Year's Eve, and that was champagne and nostalgia, not passion. I could have exploded, made a scene, but that's not how you handle a crisis. You assess, you plan, you execute. So tonight, I took her to Raphael's. Nice Italian place, white tablecloths, candlelight. She seemed confused when I suggested it. "What's the occasion?" Whitney had asked. "Do we need one?" I kept my voice light. Thought it'd be nice. She'd smiled. That same smile I fell in love with 22 years ago. Except now I could see the calculation behind it. Now we're here. She's wearing a navy dress I've never seen, hair done up like when we were dating. She ordered salmon. I got ribeye I won't eat. The waiter brought wine. She waved it off. "Not feeling it tonight," Whitney said. "You sure?" "I'm sure." She sipped water instead. "So what's really going on, Phil? You've been acting strange." I set down my fork. "I've been thinking about us. About the future." She shifted. "Okay. About family. What comes next?" Her hand went to her stomach. Just for a second. Protective. She caught herself, moved it back to the table. "Phil, if this is about..." "I'm happy," I interrupted, keeping my voice level. "Really happy, actually." Whitney blinked. "That's good." "It is." I leaned back. "You asked why I wanted dinner tonight. Why I seem different." "Yeah. It's because you're pregnant." I watched the color drain from her face. "And I'm not the father." The restaurant kept moving around us. Piano music. Laughter from another table. But at ours, everything stopped. Whitney's mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. "What did you just say?" I stood up, pulled 3 20s from my wallet, dropped them on the table. "Enjoy your evening," I said quietly. Then I walked out, leaving her sitting there with her whole world starting to collapse. I got in my car and drove home in complete silence. By the time she walked through the door an hour later, heels clicking, breath fast and shallow, I was already gone. I didn't go far, just to the Marriott 3 blocks from our house. Checked in under my name, paid cash, told the front desk I didn't want housekeeping. Room 412. Corner suite with a view of the parking lot and nothing else. Perfect. I sat on the bed and opened my laptop. The software I'd installed on our home network 3 months ago was still running. Every device in the house, every login, every search, every message, all logged, all time-stamped, all saved to a secure server Whitney didn't know existed. My phone buzzed. "Whitney." I declined the call. It buzzed again. Declined. Then came the text. "Phil, please. We need to talk. This isn't what you think. Please come home." I turned the phone face down and went back to my laptop. The real work was just beginning. See, when you build HR software, you learn something important. People are creatures of habit. They use the same passwords, shop at the same stores, follow the same patterns. Winnie was no different. I'd had access to everything for years. Joint accounts, sure, but also her personal email, her social media, her cloud storage, all synced to family systems I'd set up for convenience. I pulled up her Gmail, searched for Dr. Kellerman. 47 results going back 8 months. Appointments, test results, prescription confirmations. Then I searched for a name I'd seen pop up repeatedly in her location data. Trevor. Trevor Halstead. 34 years old. Marketing consultant. Worked for a firm 2 buildings down from where Whitney used to volunteer at the community center. His LinkedIn showed him smiling in front of a BMW, professional headshot that screamed, "I peaked in college." I found their messages in a folder she'd labeled Book Club. Cute. There was no book club, just months of planning meetups, hotel rooms, lies about where she'd be and when. One message from 6 weeks ago stood out. Whitney had written, "He's been distant lately. I think he suspects something." Trevor's reply, "Then maybe it's time to tell him. We can't keep doing this." Whitney, "Not yet. I need to figure out the logistics. The kids, the house, everything." Trevor, "What about the baby?" Whitney, "I'll handle it. Trust me. I'll handle it." Like I was a problem to be managed. A logistics issue in her grand plan. I screenshot everything. Saved it to 3 different drives. Encrypted. Backed up. Then I opened another folder. This one contained documents I'd spent the last 6 weeks preparing with my attorney, Richard Pembroke. 40 years practicing family law, reputation for being thorough and ruthless. Dissolution of marriage petition. Already drafted, already reviewed, ready to file Monday morning. Asset separation agreement. Child custody proposal. Financial disclosures showing every account, every investment, every piece of property. The house. In both our names, but I've been making payments from my business account for the last 3 years. Easy to prove. The cabin up north we bought for weekend getaways. Title transferred to my name 2 months ago when I refinanced it. Whitney had signed the papers without reading them. Too busy texting Trevor about their next meeting. The kids' college funds. Established in my name as custodian before Whitney and I even married. Protected. My business. Sole proprietorship. Established 3 years before the wedding. Completely separate property. Every penny I'd made, every client I'd signed, every line of code written, it was mine. She had no claim to it. I'd spent 6 weeks moving pieces on a chessboard she didn't know we were playing. And now it was endgame. My phone rang again. This time was my mother, Eleanor. I answered. "Philip," she said, voice tight with concern. "Whitney just called me. She's hysterical. She said you walked out of dinner and won't answer her calls. What's going on? Did she tell you why?" I asked, keeping my voice even. She said she doesn't know. That you made some crazy accusation and left. "Mom, she's pregnant with another man's child." Silence. Long enough that I checked to see if the call had dropped. "Philip," Mom said finally, voice different now. Harder. "Are you certain? DNA test came back yesterday. I've had it for 2 weeks. Wanted to be absolutely sure before I did anything." "Oh, honey." Her voice softened. "I'm so sorry." "Don't be. I'm handling it." "Where are you now?" "Hotel. I'll be here for a while. Can you keep the kids tomorrow?" I told them I had a business trip. "Of course. Natalie and Austin could stay as long as you need." "Thanks, Mom." "Philip, whatever you're planning, be smart about it." I smiled at that. Always am. After we hung up, I went back to my laptop. One more thing to handle tonight. I logged into our shared financial platform, the one where Whitney could see our checking account, savings, the household budget. I transferred everything to a new account. Business reserve fund I'd opened last month. Every dollar except exactly $5,000. Enough to cover 2 weeks of groceries and gas. Then I changed all the passwords. By the time Whitney figured out what I'd done, it would be Monday. And by Monday, the paperwork would already be filed. My phone buzzed one more time. "Whitney again. Please, just tell me what I did wrong. We can fix this." I typed back, just 3 words. "Check your email." Then I sent her every screenshot, every message with Trevor, every appointment confirmation, every lie documented and timestamped. I didn't wait for her response. Just closed my laptop, turned off my phone, and went to sleep. Tomorrow, the real work began. Sunday morning came with rain. The kind that hits the hotel window in sheets and makes you want to stay in bed. I didn't have that luxury. I had 2 kids who needed to know their world was about to change, and I wasn't going to let Whitney spin the narrative first. I drove to my mother's house in Edgewater. Modest 2-story where I grew up, where Mom still kept my old baseball trophies on the mantle like I might come back and play again. Natalie and Austin were in the kitchen when I arrived, eating pancakes Mom had made with too much syrup, the way she always did. "Dad," Austin jumped up, syrup on his chin. "Grandma said you're on a business trip, but you're here." "Trip got canceled, buddy," I said, ruffling his hair. "Got a few minutes to talk." Natalie looked up from her plate. 14 years old, and already reading people better than most adults. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. Just need to talk to you both about something. Finish breakfast first. Mom caught my eye from the stove. Not at once. She knew what was coming. 20 minutes later, we sat in Mom's living room. Austin on the couch next to me, Natalie in the armchair, arms crossed like she was bracing for impact. Your mom and I are getting divorced, I said. No build-up, no softening, just the truth. Austin's face crumpled. What? Why? Because sometimes people grow apart. I started, but Natalie cut me off. That's garbage, Dad, she said, voice sharp. People don't just grow apart. What happened? I looked at my daughter, at the intelligence in her eyes, the way she sat forward like she was ready to fight someone. She deserved the truth. Age-appropriate version, but the truth. Your mom did something that broke our trust, I said carefully. Something I can't forgive. And it's not fair to any of us to pretend it didn't happen. Did she cheat? Natalie asked, direct as a hammer. Austin gasped. Natalie, I'm 14, not stupid. People get divorced for 3 reasons. Money, cheating, or abuse. Dad makes plenty of money, and he's not the abusive type. So, she was right. I nodded. Yes, she cheated. Austin started crying. Quiet tears running down his face that he tried to wipe away with his sleeve. Natalie's jaw clenched, but she didn't cry. Just sat there processing, putting pieces together. Is that why you left dinner Friday night? She asked. Mom came home crying. She locked herself in the bedroom. Wouldn't talk to us. Yeah, that's why. Where were you last night? Hotel. I needed space to think. Natalie nodded slowly, then asked the question I've been dreading. Where are we going to live? With me. I said firmly. I'm not leaving you too. We'll figure out the details, but you're staying with me. Both of you. What about Mom? Austin asked, voice small. She'll still be your mom. You'll still see her. But the day-to-day? That's going to be with me. Austin buried his face in my shoulder. Started crying harder. I held him, let him get it out. Over his head, I watched Natalie. She wasn't crying, but her hands were shaking. Dad, she said quietly. Yes, sweetheart. I'm not going with her. I don't care what the court says. I'm staying with you. Natalie. I mean it. Her voice broke finally. She lied to us. To all of us. I'm not. I can't. She started crying then. Really crying. I reached over and pulled her onto the couch next to Austin. Held both of them while they fell apart, while their childhood ended a little bit earlier than it should have. Mom appeared in the doorway with tissues, set them on the coffee table, and disappeared again, giving us space. After a while, Austin pulled back. Are you going to be okay, Dad? I smiled at that. Kid's world was imploding, and he was worried about me. I'm going to be fine. Better than fine. We all are. Promise. Promise. Natalie wiped her eyes. What happens next? Tomorrow, my lawyer files paperwork. It's going to be messy for a while. Lawyers, court dates, lots of adult stuff you don't need to worry about. But we're going to be okay. All 3 of us. What if Mom tries to take us? Austin asked. She could try, I said. But I've got everything documented. Every lie, every decision she made. When the judge sees what I have, there won't be much question about where you belong. Natalie met my eyes. You've been planning this. For 6 weeks. Good, she said fiercely. I hope you take everything. Richard Pembroke's office smelled like leather and old money. Dark wood paneling, law books that probably hadn't been opened since 1987, photos of him shaking hands with judges and politicians. He'd been practicing family law since before I was born, and his reputation was simple. He won. Philip. Richard stood when I entered, extending his hand. 65 years old, silver hair, suit that cost more than most people's monthly rent. Right on time. Wouldn't miss it. We sat. He opened a folder thick enough to be a phone book. I've reviewed everything you sent. The emails, the financial records, the DNA results. This is about as open and shut as these things get. So we file today. Already done. Courier delivered the petition to the courthouse at 8 a.m. Your wife will be served within the hour. I used a process server named DeMarco. Very professional, very discreet. I nodded. Asset freeze. In place as of this morning. She can't access any joint accounts, can't sell any shared property, can't make any major financial decisions without court approval. I also filed an emergency motion for temporary custody based on the evidence of infidelity and financial irresponsibility. Richard pulled out another document. I also want to discuss the children's testimony. Natalie is 14. In this state, that's old enough for the court to consider her preference. If she's willing to speak to the judge. She already told me she wants to stay with me. I interrupted. Said it yesterday. In front of my mother as witness. Even better. We'll include that in our filing. As for Austin, he's 11. The court won't ask him to choose, but we can present evidence that you've been the primary parent in terms of homework help, sports activities, medical appointments. He wasn't wrong. I'd been to every parent-teacher conference, every baseball game, every doctor's visit. Whitney had been there too, sometimes, when it didn't conflict with her book club or gym time. What about the house? I asked. Separate property. Purchased before marriage. Title solely in your name. She has no claim to it. Business. Also separate. Established prior to marriage. Never commingled assets. Clean separation. Her lawyer's going to fight this. I said. Richard smiled. Thin, predatory. Let them. They'll be fighting uphill with no ammunition. Unless she's got evidence you're hiding assets or mistreating the children, which you're not, she's got nothing. Best case for her is supervised visitation and maybe some spousal support for a year or two while she gets on her feet. I don't want to pay her anything. Then we argue abandonment of marital duties, infidelity as grounds for forfeiture of support. It's a reach, but with this evidence. He tapped the folder. I can make it stick. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. I opened it. You bastard. How did you do this? Whitney. Must have just been served. Another text came through. The kids are crying. Are you happy now? I showed Richard. He barely glanced at it. Don't respond. Anything you say can be used against you. Let her rage into the void. Another buzz. Please. Can we just talk? Meet me somewhere. Richard reached over and put his hand on my phone. Philip. Do not engage. This is exactly what we expected. She's going to try to manipulate you, make you feel guilty, anything to get you to back down. Don't give her the satisfaction. I powered off my phone. What's next? We wait for her response. She has 30 days to file. In the meantime, you keep doing exactly what you're doing. Be the perfect father. Maintain your business. Stay clean. No dates. No drinking. Nothing that could be twisted against you. Understood. And Philip. Richard leaned forward. I've been doing this a long time. I've seen men get taken to the cleaners because they felt guilty, because they wanted to be nice, because they thought being generous would make the process easier. Don't be that guy. She made her choices. Now she lives with the consequences. I stood up, shook his hand. That's exactly what I intend to do. Wednesday afternoon, I got a call from my CFO, Linda Martinez. She'd been with the company since year 2, back when we operated out of a strip mall office and ate ramen for lunch. If Linda was calling in the middle of the day, something was wrong. Philip, we have a problem, she said without preamble. What kind of problem? The kind where someone's been accessing employee payroll data without authorization. For the past 8 months. I pulled over into a gas station parking lot. Who? Whitney's login credentials. She hasn't worked here in 3 years, but her admin access was never revoked. Someone's been using it to pull salary information, benefits data, personal employee files. My jaw clenched. Send me the logs. Everything. 20 minutes later, I was in my office staring at timestamps that painted a clear picture. Whitney had been systematically accessing our HR platform, downloading confidential employee information. Names, addresses, social security numbers, salary histories. Everything a person would need to steal identities or sell data to competitors. I called Richard immediately. This is corporate espionage, he said after I explained. If she shared this information with anyone, especially a competitor, you've got criminal charges on top of the divorce. Can we prove she shared it? We need her communications. Email, text messages, cloud storage. Do you have access? I smiled grimly. I have everything. That evening, I went through Whitney's digital footprint with a forensic eye. Found the jackpot in a folder labeled consulting work. Dozens of files containing employee data from my company, all sent to an email address belonging to Stratton Solutions. Our biggest competitor. The contact, Trevor Halstead. Her boyfriend worked for them. I called Linda back. Get our legal team on this. I want a full audit of every file accessed, every download, every potential breach. And I want it yesterday. Philip, if this gets out, it won't. Not yet. But I want documentation. Every single access logged and reported. When we're ready, we're burying both of them. Thursday morning, I met with our corporate attorney, James Reeves. Showed him everything. The unauthorized access, the data theft, the transfer to a competitor. This is a felony, James said flatly. Computer fraud, theft of trade secrets, potentially RICO if we can prove conspiracy. I don't want to press charges yet, I said. I want to use it as leverage in the divorce. James raised an eyebrow. You want to blackmail your wife? I want her to understand the consequences of fighting me. She stole from my company, compromised employee data, potentially cost us clients. She agrees to my terms in the divorce. I keep this quiet. She fights me. I file criminal charges and civil suits. That's brutal. She earned it. Friday, Richard served Whitney with an amended petition. Added a section detailing the corporate espionage, the data theft, the potential criminal liability. Attached copies of every access log, every file downloaded, every email to Trevor. She called me within an hour. I didn't answer. She called again and again. Finally sent a text. Please, we need to talk. I didn't know what I was doing. I replied with one sentence. Your attorney has my terms. Sign them or face prosecution. Her response came 2 minutes later. You're destroying me. I typed back. You destroyed yourself. I'm just documenting it. Then I blocked her number and went back to work. 2 weeks later, Whitney signed. Everything I asked for. Full custody of both kids. The house, the business, all investments and retirement accounts. She got her car, $5,000, and whatever personal belongings she could fit in it. No alimony, no child support from me, nothing. Richard called to confirm. She signed 30 minutes ago. Her attorney looked like he'd been through a war. I don't think I've ever seen someone fold that completely. She didn't have a choice, I said. No, she didn't. The corporate espionage angle was brilliant. Her lawyer knew if this went to trial, she'd end up in prison and lose everything anyway. At least this way she walks away free. For now, you're still considering criminal charges? I'm considering my options. If she stays away from me and the kids, if she doesn't cause problems, I'll let it go. But if she tries to fight this down the road, tries to claim she was coerced or manipulated, then I file everything with the DA and let them handle it. Richard laughed. You're a cold man, Philip Garrison. I'm a careful man. There's a difference. That night, I told the kids. Natalie took it stoically, nodded once, and went back to her homework. Austin cried a little, asked if he'd still see his mom. I told him yes, supervised visits once a month until the court said otherwise. But we're staying with you, he asked. You're staying with me. Both of you. Forever. He hugged me then, tight enough that I felt it in my chest. Thanks, Dad. The next morning, Whitney came by to get her things. I'd already packed them. Clothes in boxes, personal items in garbage bags, everything stacked in the garage like a yard sale nobody wanted. She pulled up in Trevor's car. He stayed in the driver's seat, sunglasses on, pretending he wasn't terrified. Smart man. Whitney got out slowly, looked at the boxes, then at me standing in the driveway. That's it, she asked. That's everything. Everything that's yours. Can I see the kids? No. Her face crumpled. Philip, please. They're my children. You should have thought about that before you sold company secrets to your boyfriend's employer. You're lucky I'm not having you arrested. Don't push it. I didn't know what those files were. Trevor said he needed. I don't care what Trevor said. You stole from me. From our employees. From people who trusted us with their personal information. You made your choice. She started crying. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. Trevor honked the horn. Whitney flinched, looked back at him, then at me. Can I write them letters? Call them. Through your attorney. Not directly. If you try to contact them without going through proper channels, I'll file a restraining order. You've thought of everything, she said bitterly. I had 6 weeks. You had 10 months to think about consequences. I guess I'm just better at planning. She loaded her boxes into Trevor's car. Took 3 trips. He never got out to help. Just sat there scrolling his phone like this was someone else's problem. When she finished, Whitney stood by the passenger door. The baby isn't my concern. You and Trevor figure that out. He doesn't want, she stopped. Swallow hard. He's not ready to be a father. Then you picked the wrong guy. Not my problem. She got in the car. They drove away. I watched until they turned the corner, then went back inside where Natalie was watching from the window. Is she gone? My daughter asked. Yeah, she's gone. Good. Natalie turned away from the window. We don't need her anyway. Maybe we didn't. Maybe we'd be better off without the lies, the manipulation, the constant wondering what was real and what was performance. Or maybe I was just telling myself that to make it easier. Either way, it was done. The call came from Natalie's school on a Thursday afternoon. Principal Davies, voice tight with discomfort. Mr. Garrison, we need to discuss a situation involving your daughter and some other students. Can you come in tomorrow morning? What kind of situation? A pause. It's regarding social media posts. About your family situation. I'd rather discuss this in person. I cleared my schedule. Showed up at 8 a.m. sharp. Principal Davies met me in her office, looking like she hadn't slept. Natalie sat in the waiting area outside, arms crossed, chin up, defiant. What happened? I asked once the door closed. Davies pulled up her computer, showed me a series of Instagram posts from various student accounts, screenshots of text conversations, a video taken in the school hallway. All of them feature my wife. Ex-wife, technically, though the divorce wasn't finalized yet. These started circulating 2 days ago, Davies explained. Someone leaked details about your divorce. The affair, the pregnancy, the corporate espionage charges. It's become the primary topic of conversation among the sophomore class. I scrolled through the posts, saw Whitney's face photoshopped onto various memes. Comments ranging from cruel to vicious. Home wrecker, cheater, thief. Worst things I wouldn't repeat. Where did this come from? I asked. We're still investigating, but several students claim Natalie was the source. I looked through the office window at my daughter. She met my eyes. Didn't look away. I'll talk to her, I said. Mr. Garrison, we have a strict policy about cyberbullying. If Natalie initiated this. I said I'll talk to her. Davies nodded reluctantly. We're considering suspension. 3 days minimum. Do what you have to do. I left her office. Natalie stood up when she saw me. We walked to my car in silence. Didn't speak until we were on the road heading home. Want to tell me what happened? I asked. Kelly Patterson called you a loser, Natalie said flatly. Said her mom told her that mom left because you were boring and couldn't satisfy her. Said mom upgraded to someone younger and hotter. My jaw clenched. So you leaked the divorce details? I corrected the record. Mom didn't leave. You kicked her out for cheating and stealing from your company. I showed Kelly the court documents. She shared them. Natalie, what was I supposed to do, Dad? Let them trash you? Let them act like mom's some victim and you're the bad guy. You could have ignored it. Like you ignored what mom did. She turned to face me. You documented everything. You built a case. You made sure everyone knew the truth. I just did the same thing. She wasn't wrong. I had done exactly that. Made sure Whitney's actions were on record, in court filings, in legal documents anyone could access. I'd wanted the truth out there. Natalie had just accelerated the process. The school wants to suspend you, I said. I know. Worth it. Is it worth getting suspended? Having this follow you? Yes. No hesitation. Because now everyone knows. Mom's the one who messed up. Not you. Not us. Her. I pulled into our driveway. Turned off the engine. You know this is going to make things harder. For all of us. It was already hard. At least now it's honest. That evening, Whitney called. First time I'd answered one of her calls in 3 weeks. Your daughter is destroying my life, she screamed before I could say hello. She's posting my personal information online, turning the whole school against me, making me look like some kind of criminal. You are a criminal, I said calmly. Data theft is a felony. I'm being harassed. People are calling me, showing up at my apartment, yelling at me in grocery stores. Someone threw eggs at my car. That's unfortunate. Maybe file a police report. This is your fault. You turned the kids against me. I didn't have to. You did that yourself when you decided Trevor was more important than your family. I want to see them. The court said I get supervised visits. The court also said those visits can be denied if there's evidence of emotional harm to the children. Natalie's school suspension because of your behavior? That's evidence. Whitney went quiet. Then, voice breaking. How did we get here, Phil? You made a choice. Then another. Then another. This is where those choices led. I loved you. I still. No, you didn't. Love doesn't steal. Love doesn't lie. Love doesn't betray. What you felt was convenience, comfort, security, but not love. I hung up before she could respond. Natalie appeared in the doorway. Was that Mom? Yeah. What did she want? To blame everyone except herself. Natalie nodded, came over and hugged me. Thanks for not being mad about the school thing. Oh, I'm mad, I said. But I'm also proud. You stood up for what was right. Just wish you'd done it smarter. Next time, she said. There won't be a next time. This is over. Mom's gone. We move forward. Promise. Promise. But even as I said it, I knew it wasn't true. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Because the next morning, Whitney's attorney filed an emergency motion claiming I was coaching the children to defame her character, that I was using them as weapons in the divorce. The court scheduled a hearing for the following week. And suddenly, everything I'd built was at risk. Judge Patricia Moreland had a reputation. 40 years on the bench. No nonsense. Sharp as broken glass. She didn't tolerate games, didn't accept excuses, and could spot a liar at 50 paces. I wore my best suit. Richard sat beside me, briefcase full of documentation. Across the aisle, Whitney and her attorney, Margaret Sullivan, both looking like they prepared for war. This is a motion for emergency custody modification, Judge Moreland said, reading from her notes. Ms. Sullivan, you're claiming parental alienation? Margaret stood. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Garrison has systematically turned the children against their mother. His daughter recently leaked confidential divorce information at school, causing Ms. Garrison significant emotional distress and public humiliation. Mr. Pembroke, Richard stood. Your Honor, the information Ms. Patterson shared wasn't confidential. It was contained in publicly filed court documents. Any member of the public could access the same information. But she's 14, Margaret argued. She shouldn't have access to divorce filings. The only way she could have obtained them is if her father provided them. Judge Moreland looked at me. Mr. Garrison, did you show your daughter the divorce documents? I stood. I showed her the paternity test, Your Honor, after she asked me directly why her mother and I were divorcing. I felt she deserved an honest answer. And the corporate espionage information? That's in the amended petition, which was served to Ms. Garrison. Her attorney has a copy. If Natalie accessed it, she did so on her own. The judge made a note. Ms. Sullivan, what else supports your claim of alienation? The children refused to see their mother. Ms. Garrison has made multiple attempts to contact them, all rejected. Mr. Garrison has blocked her phone number on their devices. Your Honor, Richard interrupted. Ms. Garrison was blocked after she violated the custody order by attempting to contact the children directly rather than through supervised visitation channels. We have documentation of 17 attempted calls and 34 text messages over a 2-week period. Judge Moreland looked at Whitney. Ms. Garrison, is this accurate? Whitney stood. I just wanted to talk to my children. They won't see me, won't answer my calls. I'm their mother. You're also bound by custody order. Did you or did you not violate that order by attempting direct contact? Yes, but. Yes or no? Yes. The judge made another note. Anything else, Ms. Sullivan? We believe Mr. Garrison has coached the children to hate their mother, to view her as the enemy. This is textbook parental alienation. Mr. Pembroke response. Richard opened his briefcase. Your Honor, I'd like to call Natalie Garrison to testify. Margaret jumped up. Objection. She's a minor child. This is inappropriate. She's 14, old enough for the court to consider her wishes under state statute, and she's volunteered to testify. Judge Moreland considered. I'll allow it, but I'm clearing the courtroom. Just attorneys, parents, and my clerk. 5 minutes later, Natalie sat in the witness chair. She wore a navy dress, hair pulled back, looking older than 14. Natalie, Judge Moreland said gently, do you understand why you're here? Yes, ma'am. My mom thinks my dad turned me against her. And did he? No, ma'am. She did that herself. How so? Natalie took a breath. My dad never said anything bad about my mom. Not once. Even after he found out about the affair, about the baby, about her stealing from his company. He just said adults sometimes make mistakes. Then why don't you want to see her? Because she lied. To all of us. For months. She looked us in the eye every day and lied. How am I supposed to trust someone who does that? Judge Moreland nodded. What about the information you shared at school? I shouldn't have done that. It was mean, but I was angry. My friend said my dad was a loser, that my mom left him. That wasn't true. I wanted people to know the truth. Did your father tell you to share that information? No, ma'am. He told me to ignore it. I didn't listen. The judge looked at Whitney. Ms. Garrison, do you have questions for your daughter? Whitney shook her head, tears streaming down her face. Then we're done here. Judge Moreland closed her notes. Motion for emergency custody modification is denied. Current custody arrangement stands. Ms. Garrison, you are reminded that all contact with the children must go through supervised visitation channels. Any further violations will result in contempt charges. Margaret tried one more time. Your Honor, please. She's their mother, and Mr. Garrison is their father. A father who, according to all evidence presented, has acted appropriately throughout this process. We're adjourned. The gavel came down. Outside the courthouse, Richard clapped me on the shoulder. That went better than expected. Natalie saved us. She's a smart kid. Takes after her dad. I looked at my daughter standing by the car, waiting. Strong, stubborn, loyal. Everything Whitney wasn't. Yeah, I said. She does. 4 months after the divorce finalized, I received a letter from the district attorney's office. They'd reviewed the evidence I'd submitted regarding Whitney's corporate espionage. They wanted to prosecute. I met with Assistant DA Caroline Porter in her downtown office. She was 36, sharp eyes, reputation for winning cases that other prosecutors wouldn't touch. Mr. Garrison, the evidence you've provided is substantial, Caroline said, spreading documents across her desk. Unauthorized access to protected systems, theft of confidential employee data, transmission of that data to a competitor. This is textbook computer fraud. I know. We could file charges. Likely conviction. She'd be looking at 18 months to 3 years. I sat back. What do you need from me? Testimony. Technical documentation. Cooperation throughout the trial process. She paused. And you need to understand, if we prosecute, this becomes public. Very public. Your company will be in the news. Your children will see their mother arrested. They've already seen her destroy our family. This isn't worse. Are you sure about that? I thought about Natalie and Austin. About the stability we'd built over the past 4 months. The routine, the normalcy, the slow healing. A trial would rip that open again. What happens if I don't cooperate? I asked. Without your testimony and company records, we don't have a case. She walks. I stare at the documents. At Whitney's login credentials, timestamps, evidence of every file she'd stolen. Part of me wanted to see her prosecuted, wanted her to face real consequences beyond losing custody and assets. But another part, the part that tucked my kids in at night, that helped with homework and made breakfast, that part wanted it over. I need time to think, I said. You have 48 hours. After that, the statute of limitations starts becoming a concern. I left her office, drove home, found Natalie doing homework at the kitchen table, Austin playing video games in the den. Dad, Natalie looked up. You okay? You look stressed. I sat down across from her. The DA wants to prosecute your mom for the data theft. Natalie's pen stopped moving. Are they going to? That depends on me. They need my cooperation. What do you want to do? I don't know. Part of me thinks she deserves it. She broke the law. She should face consequences. But you and Austin are finally doing okay. A trial would bring everything back. The news coverage, the questions, all of it. Natalie closed her textbook. Dad, can I tell you something? Always. I don't care what happens to her anymore. I used to be angry, wanted her to pay for everything she did. But now, I just want to move on. I want us to be okay. Austin appeared in the doorway. Are we talking about Mom? Yeah, I said. Come here, buddy. He sat down next to Natalie. What about her? She might go to jail for what she did to my company. But only if I help the DA build the case. I'm trying to decide what to do. Austin thought about it. Will it hurt us if she goes to jail? It might. People will talk. The news might cover it. Then don't do it. Austin said simply. We're good now. Why make it bad again? Out of the mouths of kids. I looked at both of them. At their faces, finally relaxed after months of tension. At the peace we'd fought so hard to build. Okay, I said. Okay. The next morning, I called Caroline Porter. I'm declining to cooperate. Mr. Garrison, are you certain? This woman committed serious crimes. I know, but I have to think about my kids. They've been through enough. We all have. She was quiet for a moment. I understand. For what it's worth, I think you're making the right choice. Sometimes moving forward is better than looking back. Yeah, I think so too. 2 weeks later, I got a message from Whitney. First communication in months. I heard you didn't press charges. Thank you. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. She'd made her choices. I'd made mine. The story was over. That evening, Natalie asked if we could go visit Mom's grave, her grandmother, my mother Eleanor, who'd passed away the previous year. We drove to the cemetery, brought flowers, stood in the cool autumn air. Grandma would be proud of you, Natalie said, for how you handled everything. You think? I know. She always said the measure of a man is how he treats people when he has power over them. You had power over Mom. Could have destroyed her completely. But you chose mercy. I chose peace. I corrected. There's a difference. Is there? I thought about it. Maybe not. We drove home, had dinner, helped Austin with his math homework, watched Natalie practice violin for her upcoming recital. Normal life. Beautiful, boring, normal life. And that night, for the first time since I found out about the affair, I slept through without waking up angry. The healing wasn't complete. Might never be. But it started. And that was enough. 8 months later, I stood in Natalie's school auditorium, watching her accept an award for academic excellence. Straight A's all year, despite everything. I'd never been more proud. Austin sat beside me, baseball trophy from his championship game in his lap. They'd won 7-5, and he'd hit the winning run. Kid was glowing. After the ceremony, we went for ice cream. Tradition I'd started after the divorce. Every achievement, every milestone we celebrated. Made sure the kids knew that even though their family had changed, the love hadn't. Dad, Natalie said, chocolate ice cream on her spoon. Can I ask you something? Shoot. Have you thought about dating? I laughed. Where's this coming from? You've been alone for 8 months. You deserve someone good. I'm not alone. I have you too. You know what I mean. Austin nodded. Natalie's right. You should find a girlfriend. A girlfriend? You two are really pushing this. We just want you to be happy, Natalie said. Really happy. Not just dad happy. I looked at my daughter. 15 now, practically an adult. I'm happy. Being your dad is enough. But what about when we go to college? You'll be alone then. That's 6 years away. I'll worry about it then. But Natalie's words stuck with me. That night, after the kids went to bed, I opened my laptop, looked at the business dinner invitation sitting in my inbox. Tech industry mixer, networking event, usually boring as hell. But the keynote speaker caught my eye. Dr. Jennifer Hayes, founder of a healthcare analytics startup. I'd heard of her company, respected her work. I RSVP'd. The event was downtown, hotel ballroom, 100 people in suits pretending to care about presentations. I grabbed a drink, found a seat near the back. Dr. Hayes took the stage. 43, confident, brilliant. Talked about using data to improve patient outcomes, about building a company from nothing while raising 2 kids as a single mother. After her talk, I approached, extended my hand. Philip Garrison. Impressive presentation. She shook it firmly. Jennifer Hayes. And thank you. You're the HR platform guy, right? I've heard of your company. Good things, I hope. Very good. We actually use your software. Saves us hours every week. We talk for 20 minutes. About business, about building companies, about the challenges of being single parents and demanding careers. She'd been divorced 3 years, had twin daughters, 16 years old. It's hard sometimes, Jennifer admitted. Balancing everything. Being enough for them, while also being enough for the company. I know exactly what you mean. She smiled. I have a feeling you do. We exchanged cards. She called 3 days later. I know this is forward, Jennifer said, but I'd like to have dinner. Just the 2 of us. Talk about something other than work for once. I'd like that. We met at a quiet restaurant. Talked for hours. About our kids, our divorces, our dreams for the future. About rebuilding life after betrayal. About trusting again. About being open to possibilities. I swore I'd never date again, Jennifer said over dessert. Told myself men weren't worth the risk. What changed? I got tired of being angry. Realized my ex took enough from me. I wasn't going to let him take my future too. I raised my glass. To reclaiming futures. She clinked hers against mine. To new beginnings. 3 months later, I introduced Jennifer to the kids. Dinner at our house. Casual. No pressure. She brought her daughters, Sophia and Emma. The girls bonded over music. Turned out Emma played violin too, and she and Natalie spent an hour comparing techniques. After dinner, Jennifer and I sat on the back porch while the kids played cards inside. They like you, I said. I like them. They're good kids, Philip. You've done an amazing job. I had help. My mom, before she passed. And the kids themselves. They're stronger than I ever was. Jennifer took my hand. You're stronger than you think. We sat in comfortable silence. Inside, I could hear Natalie laughing at something Emma said. Austin challenging Sophia to a rematch. The sound of family, different than before, but no less real. I never thought I'd feel this way again, I admitted. Happy. Hopeful. Me neither. But here we are. Here we are. A year after the divorce, I took the kids back to the cabin up north. The one Whitney and I used to visit, the one I'd kept in the settlement. We spent the weekend fishing, hiking, sitting by the fire at night. This place feels different, Natalie observed on our last night there. How so? Lighter. Like it's ours now, not hers. Austin nodded. I like it better this way. I looked at my children, at their faces in the firelight. Thought about how far we'd come. From that dinner at Raphael's when I'd walked away from a marriage built on lies, to this moment of genuine peace. Whitney had texted me once more, months ago, asked if the kids wanted to see her. I'd left the decision to Natalie and Austin. They both said no. Not yet. Maybe someday, but not yet. I'd relayed the message. Whitney hadn't responded, and that was okay. Some wounds needed time. Some needed distance. Some needed both. Dad, Austin asked, are you okay? I smiled. Yeah, buddy. I'm better than okay. Good. He tossed another log on the fire. Because we are too. And sitting there, surrounded by my kids, by the life we'd built from the ruins of betrayal, I realized something important. Whitney hadn't just failed to destroy me. She'd freed me, given me the chance to build something real, something honest, something better. I'd thought that dinner at Raphael's was an ending. Turned out it was a beginning. The first day of a life I actually wanted to live. And that made all the pain worth it.